Good morning. I'm Kaylee Jennings.
And I'm Laura Freeman.
We are here today to introduce one of the funniest, most caring, most dedicated, spiritual, and talented individuals that we know.
Luke isn't my brother by blood, but by choice. When at just 7 years old, he gave up his bedroom so I could have a place to call home. That kind of selflessness has defined who he is.
While Luke may not come across as a fighter, our living room walls could tell you some different stories. But thank God he is a fighter because we've walked through some of life's scariest moments together and he never once backed down. His strength, his faith, and his servant heart shines in everything he does.
He's a teammate, friend, coach, rival, leader, and an inspiration.
But most importantly, he's our brother. National FFA, it is an honor to introduce your 2024-2025 National FFA Secretary, Luke Jennings.
Ain't no clouds hanging over me. Something doesn't feel the same. The rest of my life gonna start today. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gonna start today.
Good morning, National FFA. How are we? How many of us stayed up way too late last night? Yeah, exhaustion. Now, as a kid, I thought staying up late was the coolest thing ever, but especially during the summer. You see, summer nights at the Jennings household meant one thing: barn work. Picture it. 7-year-old Luke alongside Kaylee and Freeman, who you just met, having a wild time in the barn. Kaylee is spraying the wash rack hose everywhere. I'm barking orders with a juice box in hand. And if Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker came on, you already know we're singing along. For hours every night, we run around the barn, getting all of our energy out, just for the chores to get done and us to walk back to the house. Here's the thing. The walk is only about 100 feet, but it is pitch black outside. Our only source of light is a flickering floodlight at the edge of the barn. And look, I'm not scared of the dark, just whatever's in it. I stare into the darkness, muster up some bravery, and go! I get to the garage, flip on a light switch, and am safe from whatever I'd convinced myself was out there. Night after night, I sprint from the barn to the house, leaving Kaylee, Freeman, and all that darkness in my dust. Now, even though I necessarily wasn't scared of the dark, it was pretty terrifying. Now, I have learned how to walk, not run in the dark, but I've also realized a few other things. See, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say we've all been scared of the dark at some point in our lives. Maybe even now. I know sometimes I am. Even somewhere that I walk all the time in daylight, like my house, all of a sudden gets a lot scarier to walk through in the dark. Now, I have learned how to walk, not run, in the dark, but I've also realized that our fear of the dark doesn't totally go away. It really just changes. See, just like it gets dark every day, all of us fall victim to the dark world that we live in. So then what? Do we just run? Younger Luke clearly thought that was the answer, but I don't. So what does the world need to make it less dark? Truthfully, I don't think we have to look very far to find what the world needs. Now, 7-year-old Luke might have been terrified of the night, but big kid Luke loves a sky full of stars, and I witnessed some of the most beautiful night skies I've ever seen at the Wyoming FFA Leadership Camp. Who's a fan of summer camp? Oh yeah, there is nothing quite like cold showers, thin mattresses, and sweating all day long. My jam-packed week at Wyoming FFA Leadership Camp was all of that and more. First, we tear up the sand volleyball court. Then we sing songs around the campfire. We chow down in the dining hall, and we end with a hike in the mountains around us. So on the last day, I find my group and off we go. We go literally over the hills and through the woods, see some stunning views, but have even better conversations. Towards the end, Laura comes up and introduces herself. Now, this is the first time we've talked, but I'd seen her chatting with new people all week, and quickly, I understand why. She asks how my time in Wyoming has been and about my travels all year. We connect over the fact that we're both new-ish to the state since she just moved here a few years ago. But then she shares that since moving, she's not really made any new friends. But what she says next almost stops me in my tracks. Well, for a while, I kept in touch with a friend back in Oregon, which was nice, but then he told me that I'm too much of a burden, so we don't talk anymore. And in an instant, I saw the darkness that Laura had been walking in. But then she shared more. Well, Luke, I've also realized that if I need a friend, there's probably other people like that too. So I just try to be friendly to everybody. I've met some people that have done that for me, and I don't let my situation define me. And I started thinking, what do we see if we look into darkness? Yeah, it's not a trick question, nothing. But even a little bit of light is enough to be something different that breaks through. We get to be that difference. More importantly, the world needs us to be that difference. It needs us to be a light. I imagine that Laura had run through the darkness for a while, but at some point she stopped. At some point she stopped looking for a light switch, and she started looking at the light within her. Laura chooses to not let the darkness define her, but instead radiate strength, hope, and joy so that others know they aren't alone. And we can too. When Laura needed a light, she chose to be a light. When have we been walking in darkness like Laura? Maybe for you, it was fighting with a friend. Your family was in a rough spot. You were unsure about the next chapter of life. When have you felt unworthy, overlooked, unseen, or like a burden? Did you just wait for light to appear? I wouldn't blame you if you did. See, the reality of living in a broken and imperfect world is that we will walk through dark times. But Laura proves that there can be light if we choose to create it. What light are you looking for? What's stopping you from creating it? Nobody ever said it would be easy, but Laura proves that we don't have to live in darkness. We can be the difference that we're looking for. Need a light, be a light. Now, something else you should know about the Jennings family is that my mom takes pictures of everything. She has almost 100,000 pictures in her camera roll, and many of them look like these. I mean, do you know someone that keeps every picture they've ever taken? Yeah, that 99 cents a month for cloud storage starts adding up. Love you, Mom. Now, some of her pictures are meaningful, like this one, which is the day I got accepted to be a student at Ohio State. Yeah, go Buckeyes. Or I guess this one, which is my first time on campus as a newly accepted student. Okay, but it's kind of random though. Like, I remember her making me get out on the side of the road and take this picture, and I wasn't even actually a student there yet. Now, I'll admit, I was pretty pumped to be a Buckeye and eventually start this next chapter of life. But that smile, as awkward as it is, was barely held together. See, these pictures can't show the darkness that surrounded Luke as a senior in high school. They don't show that in September, I suddenly lost my grandma. In October, my dad was placed into a medically induced coma. In November, I had a random and unexpected seizure in my sleep. That in a season normally of excitement and happiness, my days were full of worry, fear, unknown, and darkness. I spent a lot of time in and around hospitals over these few months. And let me say, I thought FFA had a lot of acronyms. I swear, I had an MRI, EEG, FBC, all in 1 week. I thought the doctor was going to pull up AET, and that's where I would have drawn the line. But it's now December. There's still pain from losing my grandma and uncertainty with my dad in the hospital, but getting that acceptance letter and hopefully putting that seizure behind me, it started to bring some light into my life. And then just about 3 hours after this moment, my mom gets a phone call. Those never meant good news. She answers it, hands it to me, and tears begin to fill her eyes. Hey, Luke, this is your neurologist. We got the results back from your scan a few weeks ago. I want you to be hopeful, but we found a mass on the right side of your brain. Hopeful? My Nana is gone. My dad is clinging to life. And I have a brain tumor? Where can you find hope in that? Because in an instant, I stopped worrying about my biology test on Friday, and I started asking myself a lot of questions. Will I have to do chemo or radiation? Will I even be able to graduate? What if this is my last Christmas? I stayed up pretty late over these next few nights, staring into total darkness and hearing the same words over and over again. Luke, you have brain cancer. So this is my first time on campus as a newly accepted student, but also as a patient. I just found out that I will have surgery in 3 weeks, which means missing my senior homecoming. I say I don't care about the dance, but deep down, it is one more reason to let the darkness rule my life. On January 1st, my mom drags me up to school. We wander through the halls, and in the pitch black cafeteria, I see light. And in front of the light, I see friends and family all dressed up. In just 3 days, they had created a makeshift homecoming. Some tables, string lights, a picture backdrop, small dance floor, and about 30 people. But in that dark cafeteria, there was just enough light to remind me that I'm not alone. Because as a 17-year-old staring down a cancer diagnosis, I realized that this life is too short to live in darkness. That at the end of the day, people will only remember the way you made someone laugh on a tough day, how you kept showing up in their time of need, the way you were the difference in a dark world, how you were a light. For 182 days, my family walked in darkness. The people around us couldn't bring back my Nana, fix my dad, or make my diagnosis go away. But they still showed up. When we sat outside my dad's hospital room in fear, they sat with us. When he came home with a long road ahead, they lined the streets to remind us we still aren't alone. When I cried in doubt, they made me smile and dance. When one door closed, they opened another. When I couldn't keep going, they lit a path forward. Even if it was pretty dark, their light was enough to be the difference so I could get out of bed, laugh a little more often, and keep walking forward. Who continues to show up for you? On your darkest days, who is there? Parent? Grandparent? Ag teacher? Friend? Coach? Teammate? How do they shine through for you? See, there isn't a list of rules, rubrics, or requirements to be a light. Think about how different every light in your life is, yet how valuable each one still is. Others see the same thing in you. Your laugh is one they can't wait to hear. Your text every day is what they look forward to. Your light is what they hope to see. And that is what the world needs. What can you do today to be a light for someone else? See a light. Be a light. It's in moments when I find myself running through this dark world that I think about summer nights in the barn. And I think about Freeman. Look, 7-year-old Luke knew her as a pseudo-older sister and one of my mom's students. And while both of those things are true, there's a lot I didn't understand. Freeman grew up surrounded by physical abuse and substance addiction her entire life, but my parents became a light in her darkness. She moved into our basement, she played with us, she became a part of our family, and now Freeman does the same for others. She loves me like her little brother, cares for everyone she meets, adopted her nephew out of the life she was once stuck in, and just welcomed her own daughter into the world. Darkness tried to overcome, but light will always prevail. Starting this journey a year ago, it was about as bright as it could get. But hear me when I say that everyone has dark days, and this year had its fair share. Days when I told myself I wasn't good enough, that I didn't deserve this, and even that whatever I would say on this stage would not matter. But let's all turn on our flashlights. Come on, let's hold them up. Every time I needed a light, I would stop and I would look around and I would see exactly what I see now. Light. People who were a light by sharing their passion with me and finding a way to connect. Welcoming me into their chapter with open arms by saving me a seat, being authentic and caring about others more than themselves. Asking about my day and actually listening. Becoming a familiar face in a crowd full of strangers by being a good friend that does their best. Having the confidence and courage to start something new, but staying humble by knowing it's okay if the journey has a few bumps. Proving that we can all be a difference in this dark world. And that is what the world needs. So be there so that when someone needs a light, they can see a light. I mean, look around. Look at how much each of our individual lights changed the darkness. And thank you for being a light. The reality is, darkness will try to tell us there is no way out. But every day we wake up and we can choose to be the difference in a dark world, the light that shines through. It won't always be easy. It won't always fix the problem. But being a light makes walking through the darkness possible. And truthfully, I'm still learning how to be the difference in a dark world. But if 7-year-old Luke stood on this stage, I'm certain that he would say what this world needs is someone to be a light that guides us home. So thank you. Thank you for believing in me even when I didn't, for reminding me of the value we each bring to this world, and for being a light in the darkness. That is what the world needs. You are what the world needs. So go, be a light.
I wanna be there for you. I wanna be strong for you. Whoa, I wanna hold you close but never hold you back. Just like the banks to the river. If you ever feel like you are not enough, gonna break all your mirrors. I wanna be there when the darkness closes in to make the truth a little clearer. I wanna hold you close but never hold you back, just like the banks to the river.
Luke, you have a heart for our organization and the people in it like no other. You've been our rock through every season of this year, and you've been just as steadfast in your love for Mountain Dew, Skyline Chili, and Poshmark. You take on every challenge with a witty comment and a quiet resilience that brings us all together. You've been more than a good friend. You've been our best friend. Life will take you far, but this team will always be home. Love you. Mean it. Abby, Mary, Caroline, Jack, and Thad. Members and guests, your National FFA Secretary, Luke Jennings.
I wanna be